أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد, Allah SWT says in His glorious book in Surah Az-Zumar, chapter 39, in verse 62, Allahu khaliqu kulli shay'in wa huwa ala kulli shay'in wakil. Allah is the creator of all things and He disposes all affairs. Everything without exception belongs to Allah. Kull shay is very general, it's the most general term you can use. Everything. Everything in existence belongs to Allah. And nothing moves or nothing happens without His knowledge and permission. Now there are many scary things in this life. You got vicious animals, you got wars, you got catastrophes, you got criminals. There are so many things that makes, people afraid. But if the vicious animal is on a strong leash in the hands of someone who is strong, wise, competent, and just, do you fear the animal or do you fear the person who's holding the leash? Who's your dealing? Who will you deal with? Will you try to reason with the animal or you try to reason with the person holding that animal back? Now Allah Ta'ala holds the leash of everything in existence. If He so chooses, He would restrain them so they don't get to you. If He so chooses, He would release the leash and let them get to you. Our dealing is with Allah only, not with the animals or anything else that may scare us. We have one entity that we have to be concerned with, and it's Allah Ta'ala. Allah is comforting us. Allahu khaliqu kulli shay. He created everything. Everything is in His grip. That is the highest level of faith, of iman. To get to the point where you only see Allah, you don't see anyone else. Your dealing, your focus, your everything that you want, everything you hope, your hope, aspirations, is only with Allah. One entity, that's it. And religion at its heart is Tawhid and Ibadah, is monotheism and acts of worship to Allah. That's the heart of our religion. To see that no one is in control other than Allah Ta'ala, and we worship Him alone with steadfastness. If we achieve both of these things, then we have achieved the reason that we were created for, is to worship Allah and obey Him. Now the ownership of Allah is perfect. He owns everything. He has full freedom to do whatever He wants with it, and it comes back to Him. The ownership of man is, at best, is deficient. So Allah Ta'ala, if you think about it, the snake does not bite unless Allah permits it to. The knife does not cut unless Allah permits it to. The fire does not burn until Allah allows it to. Viruses that we're so afraid of cannot get to you and infect you unless Allah Ta'ala allows it to get to you. Everything is in His hands, and He disposes all affairs with justice, with wisdom, and with perfection. So go to Him alone and trust in Him. If you fear someone, your opponents, they're in Allah's grip. Their emotions, their actions, their breath, their everything about them is in Allah's hands. If He so chooses, He can make them serve you. Your enemies will serve you if Allah so chooses. So do not try to reason with people. Do not try to have hopes and aspirations and needs from anyone other than Allah. When you reach to that point, you deal with Allah and Allah will take care of everything else for you. That's Tawhid. That's monotheism. That's the heart of Islam and the message that Allah sent to His prophets throughout, since the creation of Adam till the end of time. So Tawhid is to please Allah alone and not be concerned with others. In the next verse, in verse 64 of Surah Az-Zumar, قُلْ أَفَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ تَأْمُرُونِّي أَعْبُدُ أَيُّهَا الْجَاهِلُونَ. Say, O Muhammad, and this is for all of us, is it other than Allah that you order me to worship, O ignorant ones? Tawhid is to put all your hopes in Allah and not hope for anything from anyone or fear anyone but Allah. If you put your hopes in somebody else, they're just as helpless as you are. You're going to be disappointed, guaranteed. Allah will make sure of it. Is there any other entity that's worthy of worship other than Allah? Is there someone else who can hear you and respond to you and help you when you get in trouble other than Allah? Who's going to provide for you and have your best interest if it's not Allah? There's nobody else. There is only Allah. So anyone who thinks that someone else can benefit or harm them is an ignorant one. Some worship money. Some worship power. Some worship their own selves, their desires. Shirk is associating others with Allah. Whether it's money, you think your money is going to get you out of trouble? No, Allah is the one who's going to get you out of trouble. You think your 401k is going to be your retirement or your kid's going to be your retirement? Allah Ta'ala is your retirement. They are the means, they're not the cause. Allah Ta'ala is the one that we have to go to for all of our needs. So we focus on one entity, and that's such a calming thing for the psyche that I have to worry about Allah and pleasing Him. That's it. That's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about this person or that government or this one. You focus on Allah, be obedient to Him, and everything else will fall into place. The next verse, 65. وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَئِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ وَلَتَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And it was already revealed to you and to those before you that if you should associate anything with Allah, your work would surely become worthless. لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. And you would surely be among the losers. Now, Tawhid is, as I said, is the message from Allah since Adam, since He created man until the end of time. It is the single, never-changing message that all the prophets brought. Worship Allah alone because everything is in His hands. Don't go to anyone else because nobody has anything. A believer does good. Why do we do good? We do good so when we enter the hereafter, we find whatever we did in this life ready for us to present to Allah and says, Ya Allah, I did my best in this life, enter me into your heaven. That's what we do good so we can find it. And Allah is saying that if you associate others with Him, when you get to the hereafter, you're going to look around and you're not going to find anything. It's all gone. It didn't make it through. It didn't make it through because that action was not according to Allah's directions and for His sake. If you did something to impress someone else, well, go get your reward from them. Don't go to Allah and ask for that reward. You didn't do it for Him. You're not going to find it in the hereafter. A doctor that runs to help the poor and he does it for the purpose of getting notoriety. You go to the hereafter, there's nothing. All the actions are gone because they were not done for Allah's sake. So sincerity is a very important thing to a believer. We don't want to waste our deeds. We work hard for our money. We work hard for our time. And if we spend it and we're not going to find it in the hereafter, that's a big loss. So without sincerity, those deeds will not be there waiting for us. So the next verse, in verse 66, بَلِ اللَّهَ فَاعْبُدْ وَكُنْ مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ. Rather worship only Allah and be among the grateful. Now, ibadah, worship, is a very comprehensive term. It has meanings of reverence, obedience, reliance on Allah, and love for Him. You know, it's complete obedience to Allah out of love. So a believer does not do anything to displease Allah, no matter what the consequence is. You want to cut me into pieces? Cut me. And the Sahaba, the Sahaba proved that. They cut him into pieces and he would never diss the Prophet or Allah. Because they knew Allah Ta'ala is the ultimate destination. And nothing else is going to help. So they did not care. Do with me whatever you want. That's what Tawhid is. You worship Allah, you obey Him, and you don't care what other people think or what they threaten you or what they're going to do to you. Now, a servant of Allah has two duties. One is to worship Allah with steadfastness and obedience. And the second one is to appreciate Him and thank Him. You have ignorant people that make claims. Why are things happening in this world? Why are these wars? Where is Allah? Why did He allow this evil to happen to this country or that country or these people? That's what ignorant people say. As if Allah is not there, or He's not aware of what's going on, or if it's not part of His plan. Allah Ta'ala is always there, and He is always in control. He sees everything, He knows everything, and He's capable to do whatever He wants. If you're going to accuse anything, accuse yourself. If something bad happens to you, the first person you should accuse is not Allah, accuse yourself. What did I do to deserve Allah getting my attention to change the way I'm behaving? Because that's, punishment and things, bad things that happen so it leads us back to Him. It's done with wisdom. It's done with love. Just like a parent would hit his kid when he does something really bad to get him back to the straight path. We cannot judge events that happen around us based, we cannot judge whether something is truly evil or something is for the best of us. The only way we can do that is if we have Allah's knowledge. And we will never have Allah's knowledge. We don't know the whole circumstance. That's Allah's department. He knows what He's doing. He is the wise. He is the merciful. He is the provider. He is the Rabb. The Lord who takes care and who raises us, to be on the straight path. He disposes all affairs with perfect wisdom. So we should put our trust in Him and thank Him in all situations. Good or bad, we may perceive it bad. It may be the best thing that happens to you. If you have a disaster that takes all your money away and that brings you back to Allah because you were doing something bad, and you start praying and you start being a good Muslim, you won. It was the best thing that ever happened to you, even though some may have perceived it as, oh my God, he lost everything that he owns. So we don't know Allah's wisdom, but we know He is wise. So we have to thank Him. Now comes the critical verse in verse 67 in Surah Az-Zumar. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. The problem with shirk, the problem with associating others with Allah, the root cause is lack of knowledge. These people did not know who Allah is. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They did not have the true estimation of who is this great Lord that we are disobeying or we're denying. If a manager comes to you and gives you an order, and the head of the company gives you an opposite order, what are you going to do? If you take the manager's order and disobey the owner of the company, the CEO, what have you done? You're ignorant and unemployed is what you are. So when we have the person who obeyed the manager and disobeyed the CEO did not know who the CEO was. He did not know his position. He did not know what he can do to him. And that's just from a simple example from our lives. The people who disobey Allah do not know who Allah is. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. Lack of knowledge of who Allah is manifests itself in bad behavior. It has to. Knowledge and behavior go together. The more knowledge you have of Allah, the better your behavior is. The less knowledge or the incorrect knowledge of Allah that you have, then the worse your behavior is. Because somebody who is jahil, ignorant, doesn't mean somebody who doesn't know anything. He's full of knowledge, but it's the wrong knowledge. It's not correct knowledge. It is not correct knowledge because anyone who disobeys Allah truly does not know Him. He does not know that his life is in His hands. If you rush to go and deal with usury or to steal to make a living, you did not trust that Allah is Ar-Razzaq. You did not know Him. You did not have true estimation of who this great Lord is. And if you think anyone can help you or harm you without Allah's permission, that's part of associations. We should know with certainty that every atom in existence is in Allah's control. So we go to Him alone. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They did not exalt Him as He should be exalted. They did not know His esteem. They did not know His power. They did not understand His promises. They did not understand His threats. They did not appreciate His perfect attributes, that He is seeing, He is hearing. The person who goes and closes the blinds and closes and locks the door and commits a sin does not know that Allah can see him and Allah is going to hold him responsible and He's going to punish him. That lack of knowledge is what makes people do the bad things. They don't know who Allah is. They don't know Him with certainty. They had assumptions. Allah is Ghafur Rahim. Allah is merciful. Do whatever you want. Allah is merciful. The Prophet is going to have shafa'ah for all of us. This is ignorant way of thinking. Allah, yes, Allah is all forgiving, but Allah is Shadidul Iqab, is most severe in punishment. You have to balance the two. You cannot look at one and have false hopes and continue your life, moving away from Allah. So when knowledge increases, faith increases, and behavior gets better. Now who Allah is? Allah says, وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Earth, all of it, جَمِيعًا, all of it. He did not have to add that word جَمِيعًا, but He added it for assurance that the earth, all of it, what's on it, what's in it, every atom of it is in His grip. He does with it whatever He wants. He can send disasters. He can shake it. He can make it stable. He does whatever He wants with it. It's in His grip. Another meaning that He will destroy earth on the day of judgment. That's another meaning from this verse. وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, on the day of judgment. وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ, and the heavens will be folded in His right hand. Also, the heavens means the universe. The universe is all in His grip. He does with it whatever He wants. The universe is a showcase of Allah's beautiful attributes. It's there so we recognize who Allah is, His greatness, His wisdom, all of His attributes. When you contemplate the universe, you'll find them. So everything has a sign that points that the Creator is one, and He is competent, and He is great. And also the verse could mean that Allah will destroy the universe on the day of judgment. And that may be so because the universe has outlived its purpose. It's there to lead us to Allah. On the day of judgment, Allah is there. We don't need the universe to lead us to Him. It's too late. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. Now, the question may come up. Why did the verse mention the day of judgment and link it to the ownership of the heavens and the earth? Isn't the heavens and the earth are in Allah's grip all the time, since they were created and forever? Why did the verse say Yawm al-Qiyamah? Why did Allah specify that? Now, in this life, man makes many claims. You can claim you're strong, this thing is in your hand, or power is in this entity. You can make whatever claim you want. You can deny the existence of God. You can deny his attributes. You can do whatever you want and make whatever claim you want in this life. But can anyone make a claim like that on the day of judgment? On the day of judgment is abundantly clear. Every matter is in Allah's hands. The heavens and earth were in Allah's hands forever and ever, since the beginning and forever. Allah Ta'ala mentions the day of judgment to close the argument. That claim is basically settled decisively on the day of judgment. Nobody can, once the day of judgment is there and everyone recognize they are helpless and they have nothing and they are nothing and everything is all in Allah's hand, that's when that matter is decisively resolved. And that's why it was mentioned that it will be clear on that day that everything was in Allah's hands and is and forever will be. So the conclusion of these verses is Tawhid, monotheism, is the core of our faith. And I mention it a lot in many khutbas because it's such an important thing. And I personally, once I started understanding it, it makes your life so easy and so focused and so clear. Before you're looking at, oh, this person is competing with me, I'm going to lose my job to him. That's how man is before Tawheed. When you have Tawheed, you know that Allah is Ar-Razzaq. I only have to concern myself with myself. I have to work hard, and Allah is Ar-Razzaq. I don't have to worry about the 20 people waiting to take my job. It's in Allah's hands. If He wants me to go to another job, He'll take me to another job. That's what Tawheed does. You don't feel enmity against anyone. You don't care about anyone. You only focus on pleasing Allah. And when you reach that makes your life so much easy. Fear in this life comes from associating others with Allah. That's where fear comes from. If you have fear of this person or that person, or oh my God, what are they going to do to me? Are they going to fire me? Are they going to do? That fear comes from shirk. A believer who has Tawheed does not fear anything. He's fearless because he relies on Allah and goes to Him and does whatever he needs to do to please Him, and Allah will take care of him. Associating others with Allah, shirk, leads to fear, and fear leads to hypocrisy. Now you start lying and you start doing this and that, which leads to disobedience, which leads to sin. And sin leads to misery and a great loss in the hereafter. It's a slippery slope. You start with shirk and you end up in hellfire. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Tawheed, on the other hand, leads to steadfastness. When you realize who Allah is, you are steadfast on His orders. You do your best to follow His orders the best you can. You know everything in His hand and you do the right thing, which brings a peace of mind. You don't have any fears of anyone. It brings honor, it brings happiness, and it brings success in this life and in the hereafter. In Surah Muhammad, in the beginning of verse 19, Allah says, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. So know means knowledge is required. Know that Allah, there is no deity except Allah. You have to know with knowledge. You cannot make assumptions. And knowledge requires knowledge. It requires, going to lessons. It requires to reading. There's a wealth of information out there. If we do not go in there and put the time to learn about our religion and to learn about Allah and what He wants from us and how we're supposed to live our life, how are you going to get Tawheed? You're not going to get the Tawheed by, overnight. It takes effort. It takes knowledge. We must dedicate time. We have to have time. Allah did not put us on this earth. He did not create us, put us on this earth, created the universe so we can know Him, gave us a mind that thinks, gave us a fitrah, a pure nature that when we do something wrong, we recognize it. He did not send messengers and books so we can go spend every waking moment working and chasing life. This is not. There is a portion of it that has to be dedicated to make a living. But our destination is Jannah, bi'idhnillah. And we have to have the knowledge, we have to have time set to reach that goal. Nobody's going to reach Jannah without work. And work requires knowledge, because moving without knowledge is disastrous. So we have no excuse in front of Allah to tell Him, we were so busy. We did not have time to learn. We did not have time to spend to get to know you. We don't have any excuse. So we'd better pay attention to what we're doing, review our lives, and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to get to Jannah. And inshallah, next in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about glimpses of the end of time, which is the final part of Surah Al-Zumar, which is very beautiful. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم.